Let's make some pizza, let's make some good chips, and let's make some pies or quiche. Something you can have for dessert and feel good about it, which is very tasty, which is better than loaded fries. This one, dear, a loaded pizza and casa. And this is gluten free. This is great for people who have diabetes. It's good for nursing mom. It's good for children. Yes, childhood obesity is on the rise, and this is a healthier option to go with. And all of this is from good Fonio, DIM Fonio, grown with good organic acres fertilizer. Very easy to make, very simple to make, and they are all very tasty as well. And this is gluten free. Yes, there is no gluten in there as well. And look at the beauty of it. Oh my god, they just taste awesome. And these are the different alternatives you should be trying out now. So let's go in and let's start. We're going to start with our fonio, which we're going to blend. If you don't have the fonio powder, one way you can make your fonio powder at home is to use your power blender to blend it into a powder. So the whole grain, you can blend it into a powder. But the stress, you can avoid all of this if you just buy the DIM Fonio flour. Yes, so the flour is great. And we're going to start off with our pizza. Yes, everybody loves good pizza. And this is what I call the loaded pizza, which is way better than your loaded fries in there. We're going to start off with our fonio flour. You're going to add in salt. You're going to add in yeast. You're going to add some sugar and a bit of margarine or butter or ghee. You need some fat base in there. We're going to mix all of this together. And then we're going to use some egg white. Yes, egg white. Then we're going to mix this all together. And finally, we now have to go in with some sort of liquid to bind it together. And we're going to use milk in there. Good whole milk is a good option in there. If you don't take milk or you're lactose free, you can use any lactose free milk, or if you want to avoid milk, you can avoid it totally. But that milk is going to give it that goodness as well. I'm going to let this puff up and rise up. So within 5, 10, 15 minutes maximum, it would have all formed perfectly. At this point, I'm preheating my oven, and yes, look at the beauty of this. Once you see it rising well, you know you're going to get very fluffy kind of pizza. So you can do this two ways. You can put your flour in your baking pan, and then you can put your dough onto it. Yes, the flour is going to help it not stick onto it and to be able to easily get it off. Yes, so that is one way you can go about it. Alternatively, if you want to avoid stress, yes, and you want to be very sure that you're going to be able to remove it from your pan, what you can then do is to use a parchment sheet, which I'm just going to cut out into a circle so that it can fit perfectly into the pan. And then we're going to down scoop our base onto it. So with the parchment, you know that definitely sure banker is going to come out from it easily. Yes, you don't want stress when you are making your pizza or it's trying to take it out. And you realize that even as I'm scooping it, you can still feel the flour base in there. So it's okay to use the flour. It's okay to use the parchment paper as well. You're still going to get that goodness in there because of the yeast and because we let it sit for a while. You realize that it is puffing up and you don't need so much. Like that little quantity is going to give you good sized pizza. So for pizza, yes, 15 minutes is good to make your pizza. And we're going to go in at 160 degrees. When it's like halfway done, we're going to take it out and we're going to check. Yes. So at this point, for 15 minutes, and we had done 9, which is more than halfway. Yes. So 9 minutes into the bake, we took it out, and yes, this was good. It was already done. The base was done. It's very, very, very delicate at this point because it's still hot. So I just flipped it over. Then I just continued with my topping. So I'm adding some tomato base topping onto it. Then I'm adding some sausages. You can use any proteins of your choice, whether fish, whether chicken, whether meat, any proteins of your choice. I'm going in with some mushrooms as well. This is pickled mushrooms. You can go in with any proteins like I made mention of, but this is my loaded pizza. Yes. Then I'm using mozzarella and cheddar cheese as well, which is also mixed. Then I'm adding in some paprika and then some tomatoes. Yes, usually people skip tomatoes in pizza, but it's so good. And I'm adding in some shredded pepper. Yes, habanero pepper. That should give you that kick in there as well. And then extra sausages, extra cheese topping, and then that goes in to finish up the 6 minutes bake. So like I said, 15 minutes is good to get you good pizza with this. And at this point, this is just going to cook up because vegetables don't take long to make. The sausage doesn't take long to make. If you're using chicken or meat, make sure that it's already kind of made or cooked before. And look at how beautiful this pizza comes out. Very beautiful. Now look at this pie. These pies look good. They taste awesome. And for this, you need the flour. We're going to add in our salt. We're going to add in some curry powder. And we're going to use some egg yolk and, of course, a little bit of fat. So margarine, butter, ghee, any type you have. And then we're going to add in milk to bind this up. Yes, we need to bind it together. And we're going to add in the milk in bits because you don't want it to get overly watery or mushy. That is one thing you really want to avoid. So the milk is going in bits, and then we're going to form it into a dough. Yes, because for your pie crust, you need to get something which is like doughy. And we're going to add in some baking powder to help it rise a little bit so it's not overly dense, because you want this to be a little bit kind of soft in there. Then we're going to let it sit for 15, 20, 30 minutes. And then now is the fun part. We're going to make sure that we do this lining for our baking tools, else we're going to end up having them sticking in the cans. We don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is to use a parchment sheet. This is where, if you have kids, you want to do it with them, because this is where you're going to have fun at it. So I'm just going to cut the parchment sheet in a way that it can actually sit in this baking tins I'm going to use. Yes. So this, I'm going to like check with the size of it, and I'm going to cut the base of it. So this is all to help me be able to put them in. And the whole idea is you don't want it to stick in. That's the whole thing. If you want to avoid the stress, you can actually use some silicone molds for the baking. So now that we're done with this part, yes, it matters a lot. We're going to continue and we're going to cut out some circles. Yes, if you don't cut out the circles, honestly, it's going to be hard with the middle part, and you want your middle part to be able to also come out well. So you're going to do circles. And like I said, this part, your math teacher will be so happy with you because you'll be applying all your maths and geometry here. And kids, creative arts, this is where you can engage your kids and have fun with it as well. So that is going to go to the base. Else, all the creeps at the base is going to look funny with it once you make it. And hooray, see that beautiful designs we have. You can use it for your Christmas decoration someday. So that's just by the way. But you're going to cut some aluminium foil because we need to make something that can sit in the middle to give us that space for us to put our filling into it. So I'm just going to do this with the help of aluminium foil and with some beans as well. So I'm using the beans. We're not going to cook it. It's just to help us make that hole in there. And it should be able to fit into the space, yes, but not fill it overly, because we want to have the crust and we want it to have it stuffed with our vegetables and proteins as well. So once this is done, we're going to have to still use some parchment paper, because if you use just this with aluminium foil, it's going to stick onto it. It's going to be hard for you to scoop up the base, but the parchment paper makes it easy for you to work with. If you don't have a parchment paper or a baking sheet, baking paper, you can just use like regular paper and use some oil on it. That's another trick to go about it. So I'm going to wrap this up in there, and the whole thing is I want to make my work easy once like we go into the baking process. It's either you struggle now or you struggle at the end. I would rather prefer to struggle early and then rest at the end. At this point, like our mixture was well done, and you can see how good the texture was. It looks good, it tastes good, it smells good. Like it is just good, goodness. Yes, and we're going to scoop it in. You don't want to fill this to the brim because we're going to put the molds we've done into the middle to be able to get that space for us to fill it up. Yes, so this is the whole idea behind redoing the circles, and we're going to put it in our tray. We're going to put this in. You can let this sit for like 10-15 minutes so that it's going to relax. It's going to like fill up the space, and then we'll be able to easily pull out the balls we've done. So once you pull out the parchment mix in the middle, you're now going to stuff it. So I used the same pizza kind of stuffing I did, which was mushrooms, sausage, carrot, paprika, chili. Yes, those were what I did. And once I take out the ball or the middle piece we did with the beans and stuff, I'm now going to just scoop out the excess from the bowl, and then it goes back to cover it up after filling it up or after stuffing it up. Yes, so this is how you go about the pie. It's a lot of work from making it, but like it's a lot of goodness when you're eating it. And you either struggle at the beginning or you struggle at the end. And like I said, if you don't want to struggle with it at all, you can just go with a silicone mold instead when you're making it. And that is one easy way to also like avoid stress in there. And you're going to bake it slow bake, which is on 160 degrees for about 20 minutes is okay. If it's not done by 20 minutes, you can just give it some extra 10 minutes. But within 30 minutes or 40 minutes maximum, it should be done. We're using slow bake so that it can really cook well and it can dry out properly. Yes. If you give it high heat, it's going to be brown, but it's not going to be well cooked. Then you're going to have issues in there. So you want to slow bake it at 160 degrees. And look at that. Well stuffed, very tasty, very creamy, very crunchy. Yes, the milk is going to add flavor to it. The butter and everything we've used is also going to add flavor to it. The crust has a lot of taste, which is very good as well. Now, for your crunchy dessert, if you want some chips, you want some biscuits, this is how to also go about it. So this is super crunchy, this is super tasty, and this is super goodness. You need your Fonio Flour. I'm going to use some Acha powder as well, which is your Tigernut powder. And I'm adding in some salt. I'm using in Tigernut powder because it's a good plant-based protein as well. And I'm going to mix all of this up. And then finally, I'm going to add in some sugar, yes, or any sweetener of your preference. Then that is also going to sweeten it up. And of course, some margarine or butter. And you're going to mix this up and you're going to add some liquid base to it. Good milk is good. So whole milk is a good option to go in with this. You can use water or anything that can help you bind, but milk is a good option to go in with it. And you're going to mix this up. Let it be a bit moist because we're going to let it sit, and fonio would have to absorb the moisture in there. So I form it into a nice dough or ball. Then I like to just let it sit for some time. 30 minutes is a good time. If you don't have much time, 15 minutes is good. Once it's sat down for some time, you want to get your parchment paper. You want to put this into your parchment paper and you want to roll it. Because it's so soft, if you do it without the parchment paper, it's going to really stick onto your molding something and it's going to be more stressful to make. So the parchment paper gives you like easy way to handle this. And like I said, you don't want to make this too tough, else it's going to be so flaky and you're not going to get good texture. And number two, fonio absorbs water. So it needs to have enough water for it to be well cooked or well baked and still good in there. So your dough can't be tough. Your dough has to be soft in there. Then we're going to cut this up into our shapes. If you want to use a cookie cutter to make nice shapes or nice sizes, it's up to you. If you want to cut it like the shortbread type, you can do that as well. But I just use a knife to just make this simple chips cutting. If you have a chips cutter, the roller type, you can just roll it over. That also makes your work easy. When it's fresh, it's soft, it's a bit annoying to take out. Yes, you need to have a lot of patience and time for it, else it can just like flake up or tear up a lot. But that's not a problem. Once it's soft, you can always like put it into a nice shape as you're making it. So you shouldn't be too much worried about it. Yes, and this is easier to make as well compared to the pie. Just that, like, for this, it's about the cutting and how you take it off. So it's very brittle, it's very like fragile when it is like this. But once it goes into the oven, it firms up. You are good to go. You want to give it enough space around it for it to be able to bake well. And I did this together with the pie, like I made mention. The oven, the air fryer oven was already preheated. Then I went in at 160 degrees. At some point, you may want to take it out and shake it up, which is like at least chips will take you about 15 minutes to make, yes. But because we're not using 200 degrees or 180 degrees, we're using 160 degrees, we're going to go more than 15 minutes. We're going to go for about 20 or 25 or 30 minutes, depending on the temperature of 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 your oven. Yes. but then 160 is good. But at a point, I had to reduce it to 100 degrees because I really wanted the chips to be very crisp, very dry. That was for just an extra 10 minutes. Yes. So for extra 10 minutes, I just placed that in there to just get that crispness into the chips. Yes. So like I said, you want to really do this over low heat. And when it's hot, once it's done, once you break it, you realize the inside is done. Once it cools down, it's going to firm up extra as well. And that is why you need to be careful with the quantity of water you are also going to use in there as well. And this is our tasty, sweet, good tasting chips or biscuit fonio recipes, which is totally gluten free as well. So if you did like the video on the fonio recipes, just make sure you get your own fonio. Mona dorso, ebrona dorso. Sisi ama ese ekọ na healthy okọ na healthy dia ene ndie fonio nkwa na fonio no so de woodi a na woodi papa preko. So till I see you in the next food video, which is definitely going to be a special fonio recipe of mine, make sure that you live life to the fullest. You be merry, and don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to give me a good thumbs up to this video, and then I'll see you in the next special fonio recipe. Mwah!